That is Madonna on BBC Radio Oxford. It is 13 minutes past 8, and my next guest here on Saturday's Breakfast Show is, well, frankly, a bit of a sensation. He's definitely a celebrity around here at BBC Radio Oxford because he's published not his first, but his second book recently. And he's also a Radio Oxford Make a Difference Award winner. He's got his own YouTube channel, which goes a bit like this.
Hello, my name is Joe Rajapaksha. In Science with Joe, we're going to be looking at science. Mainly conservation. Planet Earth is our one and only home, so let's do something to help.
So that is Joe, and as you might gather, he's still rather young, and he joins me in the studio now. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Adam.
How are you today?
I'm feeling really nice today.
Excellent, good. So let's talk about, I want to talk about your YouTube channel first of all. So what's it all about, this YouTube channel?
So it's called Science with Joe. I want to educate people about, mainly children, about science, mainly conservation, because it's a really important topic, especially nowadays with all of the climate issues we're facing. And right now in the UK it's getting really hot, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to educate as many children as I can about the issue because it's a big one.
And what made you think to do this? Why do you think the issue is so important?
Well, this actually started when I was the same age as my sister now. So when I was 4, I used to come back home from nursery. I used to throw my bag somewhere, sit on the sofa. Then I used to go on my television and try and find one of the programs by Sir David Attenborough.
Oh, yeah.
He was my main inspiration.
Okay. What is it about David Attenborough that you love so much?
He found a really good way of getting people interested in the things that he's interested. And those things that he is interested are just not his opinion. They are actually real things, really important, and we need to do something about them.
You want to be the next David Attenborough, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I want to inspire the world.
Good. And of course, with all of this work that you're doing, your YouTube channel, this awareness that you're raising, you of course won a Make a Difference Award last year, the BBC Radio Oxford Make a Difference Award. How did that feel, doing that?
Well, that actually felt really nice that I won because I am a 9-year-old and it's very hard to get people's attention, especially when you're young like me. So actually winning the award and getting more attention and raising awareness of climate change, it was actually a really big thing and I would like to say thank you. But even if I didn't have the award, I would still consider myself a winner because we were all winners in that room. We were all doing something. We were all making a difference. So so even without the award, I would still call myself and everyone in there a winner.
Definitely.
But it's really good winning, actually.
It's very good winning,
Yeah.
and you're right. Everybody in there was making a difference, and it was so nice being in that room. It just felt very positive, didn't it? It was very lovely to be in that room, and I was there myself as well. And I remember you going up and you did a speech, and then after your speech, you got a standing ovation for your speech.
Yeah.
So everybody in the room stood up and clapped for you. How did that feel?
That felt really nice. I felt like I engaged a lot of people into the environmental issues.
Yeah.
I think I raised a lot of awareness then.
You definitely did. You definitely did. And you're continuing your work as well. You've won the award, but you're not stopping there. You're keeping going. And now you've published 2 books, haven't you?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the first book first of all. When did this one come out?
This came out a few months ago. This one is called The Changing World. It's basically a conversation between a baby elephant and its grandfather talking about climate change. So they live in the African savannah, really hard conditions, it's really hot, they're currently in a drought, and so he gets worried. So then he goes and finds his grandfather and asks, what is climate change, what is a flood, what is a heat wave, what is a drought? How does it all work? And then the greenhouse effect. And then it talks about climate change, the issues that it causes, how the African savannah is being affected, and then how you can help to stop climate change. So like something like recycling or reducing your carbon footprint, walking to work, walking to school. So and then this book is dedicated to Sir David Attenborough.
Yeah, there's a little note in the front, isn't it? Dedicated to Sir David Attenborough.
This book is dedicated to Sir David Attenborough, who inspired me to protect the environment.
And what was the reaction from your friends and your family and people who got the book and read it? Did they like it?
Yeah, they really liked it. Many people came to me and said the illustrations were really nice.
Who did the illustrations?
There's this really nice man called Prageeth. My mum knows him.
Okay.
And then he did all of the illustrations for us, and they turn out really nice.
They are beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a really lovely book. And how long did it take you to do this first book?
6 months.
6 months. 6 months of writing and getting the story right and
Yeah,
everything.
so we first had to write write it down on a computer. I had to do that. And then we had to send it to an editor who then edited out all of the words and made sure everything was correct, the grammar. And then we got the final version of the words. Then we gave it to Prageeth, who did all of the illustrations. And then once we got that, we have to give it to someone else to put this book together. Otherwise, it'd just be pictures on words.
Sure. It's a lot of work, isn't it, doing a book?
Yeah, really hard
And you
to make a book.
It's really hard, but you thought, I'm going to make another one anyway.
Yeah.
So you've done a second book now.
Yeah, and I'm actually getting ready for my third and fourth book.
No way. Third. You're
Yeah.
doing. So what? How old are you now? You're 9 years old.
Yeah.
And so in the next few months, you're going to have published 3 books in total.
Yeah, but I'm also working on my fourth book as well.
I mean, that just puts me and everybody listening to shame, Joe. Stop being so good at what you do, Joe. Okay, tell us about this second book then. What's it called?
So this book is called Be Friendly. It's dedicated to my grandfather, who loves nature just as much as I do, and he protects a lot of nature in Sri Lanka.
Ah, so he's an inspiration for you as
Yeah,
well as,
yeah,
as David
yeah.
Attenborough. Okay.
He works really hard with nature as well.
Oh, good. Okay.
So this book, when you first open the book, it talks about bees. So it says what is a bee, and then the parts of the bee, how they make honey, and then how they build the hive, the different types of bees, so like the queen bee, the workers, and the drones, and this life cycle of a bee, and then the different types of pollinators, because bees belong to this really nice group of animals called pollinators who make food for us. So like they pollinate, so then they bring pollen from one plant to another and helps the plants grow, and then in turn they can make food for us.
Yeah, it's important, isn't it, to look after the
Yeah.
bees and these pollinating insects. That's why
Yeah.
in my garden, for example, I quite like to let the grass and the plants just grow.
Yeah, that's the part in here about how you protect bees.
Ah,
Be a
brilliant.
lazy gardener.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a good lazy gardener,
Yeah.
just because I'm lazy anyway.
And then the next bit, it shows you about how bees pollinate themselves, the threats they're facing, so like farming, the loss of habitat, pesticides, and different parasites that are coming in, and invasive species. And then it shows you how you can be friendly to a bee and how you can protect them. So you can grow your own friendly plants, so that means you can grow things like wildflowers that bees like, and then it can help the bees to thrive in your garden. And then, like I said, be a lazy gardener.
Yes,
what you're doing,
absolutely.
be a lazy gardener. So let nature thrive in your garden.
Yes.
Don't do too much maintenance, because nature needs to thrive in your garden, and it really helps if you leave a lot of like greenery for the bees, because they can thrive really
Create
easily.
a nice ecosystem
Yeah.
for all the bugs
Yeah,
and all the bees to come
that's
and enjoy
exactly what I mean,
themselves.
yeah.
What made you think about doing a book about bees then?
Well, actually, I thought about bees because they're really important. If we lose bees, so this is what happens if we lose bees.
Okay.
We all suffer. We all starve to death, because bees make so much of our food. And if we lose them, we lose a lot of our food. And that means we can't survive.
Yeah. I mean, they're
Yeah.
tiny, but they play such a big role in our world, don't they?
Yeah. And then all of this money that I raise
Yeah.
from the book, so all of the money that I get, I'm going to donate it to the Oxford Health charity, Green Space Appeal. So they help with green spaces. They grow green spaces. And then when there is green spaces, it's not just good for bees and pollinators. It's also good for the staff and the patients. They've done a lot of research and testing on different patients, and it turns out when they don't look at a concrete car park and they look at some greenery, it's really nice, and they get to cure themselves quicker than they would.
Yes, yeah.
And then also for the staff, they work really hard. It's their profession. They may like it, but obviously it's really busy in a hospital. So if you had something like a lot of patients in the ward, you needed some rest, you could just go out, probably have some lunch outside. It'd just be really nice and calming for the staff.
In a lovely green
Yeah.
space with nature all around. It's good for your mental health, isn't
Yeah.
it, nature?
In fact, the money that I raised from my first book, The Changing World, it was related to elephants. So I decided
Okay.
to donate all of the money that I got to the Lewa Wildlife Conservancy
fantastic.
in Kenya.
Okay.
So they are based in Mount Lewa, which is a big mountain in Kenya. They stop the illegal wildlife trade. They get keratin and ivory, the rhino horns and elephant tusks off the black market. They arrest poachers, and they even teach schools around Mount Lewa, and they use lots of powerful phrases to engage the children into helping the wildlife around Mount Lewa.
That's incredible. So not only are you writing these books, the money that you get from them is going to some incredible causes as well.
Yeah, so there are two main reasons why I write books. One, awareness, especially for children.
Yeah.
Because I wrote to our local MP, Mr. Robert Court, asking for climate change to become a compulsory subject in the national curriculum. And then I got a reply from him, and it did happen. And now in September this year, we're going to have it in the curriculum, and all schools will be learning it, compulsory subject.
That's fantastic.
Now imagine if you went into a maths lesson about decimals. You knew nothing about decimals, you'd probably stress out.
Yeah.
And that might happen to lots of children, because under my analysis, I've seen a lot of children, especially in my school that I go to, they don't know much about climate change. So this could actually help them, give them a little preview of the subject, and probably help them.
Yeah, because you need the awareness and you need the teaching there. Well, Joe, thank you so much for coming in today. We hugely appreciate it. Like you say, you're a bit of a celebrity around here at BBC Radio Oxford, and we wish you the best with your second book. And of course, keep us up to date with that third and fourth book as well. We'd love to hear all about that as well.
Yes, I definitely
So,
will.
Joe, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me here.